Congress Party President Rahul Gandhi today launched a frontal attack on Prime Minister Narendra Modi, accusing him of being a middleman for Anil Ambani. He didn't just stop there. He showed an email of 2015, an Airbus internal email, while talking about a Rafale MOU. Now, the BJP has hit back, accusing Rahul Gandhi of being a front, a lobbyist for a competitive arms company. But in election season, was Rahul Gandhi misled? Or is this deliberate misleading? Is shoot and scoot permitted in the run-up to the make or break 2019 election? Rahul Srivastava and Rajiv Dubey bring you a top story.
The Prime Minister is acting as Mr. Anil Ambani's middleman. The Prime Minister, who is the only other person who knows about this deal, has informed Anil Ambani. This is a breach of the Official Secrets Act.
Rahul Gandhi steps up his attack on Prime Minister Narendra Modi over the Rafale jet deal. The Congress chief on Tuesday flaunted an email to claim Anil Ambani knew of the Rafale deal nearly 2 weeks before it was announced during Prime Minister Modi's France visit in 2015. The email, written by an Airbus executive, recounts his conversation with Christophe Salomon, the industry advisor to then French Defence Minister. The ministry official talked about his meeting with Anil Ambani, where the Indian businessman mentions an MOU to be signed during the Prime Minister's visit. The Congress claims the MOU referred here is the Rafale deal.
रक्षा मंत्री को नहीं मालूम, पर्रिकर जी कहते हैं भैया मुझे तो नहीं मालूम, फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी को नहीं मालूम, मगर अनिल अंबानी को डील होने के 10 दिन पहले मालूम है कि डील होने वाली है.
Reliance Defence has rejected Rahul Gandhi's claims. The company says the mail is regarding discussions between Airbus and Reliance Defence to produce civil and defence helicopter programs under Make in India. The proposal eventually did not materialize.
This email has actually been written by Nicholas, an executive vice president of Airbus, to his seniors, to even the CEO of Airbus Helicopters, telling them that Anil Ambani thinks that he's going to sign a contract with Airbus Helicopters, but we already have other partners that we are discussing with, and that this fact should be sent in a message to this team. That's what this is referring to. This is really not a Rafale email.
The Modi government has also trashed Rahul's charges and has accused the Congress of lobbying for international arms manufacturers.
बड़ा सवाल मैं उठाना चाहता हूं, राहुल गांधी ये बताएं कि एयरबस का एक इंटरनल मेल उनको कहां से मिलता है, कौन सप्लाई कर रहा है उनको. राहुल गांधी विदेशी कंपनियों के लॉबिस्ट के रूप में काम कर रहे हैं जो राफेल से परेशान हैं.
Meanwhile, a fierce face-off erupted in Parliament, with the Congress demanding a joint parliamentary committee probe.
हजार का घोटाला हुआ है, इसका पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी से इंक्वायरी होना है, और वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर क्यों डर रहे हैं मुझे मालूम नहीं.
रफेल के मुद्दे पर इस संसद में चर्चा हो चुकी है और साथ ही साथ सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी इस संबंध में अपना फैसला दे दिया अध्यक्ष महोदया. लेकिन ये कैसी विडंबना है कि बराबर नेता प्रतिपक्ष अपनी तरफ से ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं, बार बार असत्य को बोलकर उसे सत्य साबित करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं.
The Modi government, under relentless attacks from the opposition, did not table the CAG report on Rafale. It is now likely on Wednesday.
What may generate political heat on Wednesday when it is tabled is the fact that it does not talk about the price of each jet, but presents a percentage-wise comparative evolution of the jets.
With Rahul Srivastava and Rajiv Dubey, Bureau Report, India Today.
So was that email that Rahul Gandhi showed, was it all about the Rafale deal MOU, or was it about a helicopter deal? And did Rahul Gandhi know this? Was Rahul Gandhi misled, or did Rahul Gandhi mislead the country in the run-up to this make or break 2019 elections? Joining me now on the broadcast, Amit Malviya, spokesperson of the BJP, Priyanka Chaturvedi, spokesperson of the Congress party, Ghanshyam Tiwari represents the Samajwadi Party on the broadcast, Abhijit Ayyar Mitra is a journalist. He's been covering the Rafale deal very well. And also with me is Rajiv Dubey, managing editor, India Today Business. Rajiv, my first question is to you. Was this about a helicopter MOU, unrelated, or was this email about the Rafale?
So, you know, this is a season of lies, half-truths and truths also somewhat. But basically, this is a game of obfuscation that was being tried out. This whole email is between Airbus executives talking about Airbus deals. There is no question of a Rafale being discussed in this email. This email is about an executive from Airbus writing to his CEO in Airbus Helicopters, saying that he had a discussion with some advisor who had a chat with the minister's office, who told him that Anil Ambani was coming to France to sign an MOU for Airbus Helicopters.
Okay.
Essentially, he was telling them that while we know that he thinks that he has got the deal for Airbus Helicopters and that he will be signing the MOU, this gentleman Nicholas is telling his senior that we should tell him that we have other options, that he is not the only one that we will be discussing with. So this whole discussion between Airbus executives was happening about Airbus Helicopters.
Okay.
Those were the helicopters that Anil Ambani was trying to strike a deal for Indian Navy's naval utility helicopter,
which incidentally has happened today, and not related to Anil Ambani at all.
And also this deal finally went to Mahindra. It never went to Anil Ambani.
Yes. So Priyanka Chaturvedi, was Rahul Gandhi misled, madam, or was Rahul Gandhi actually, thinking in election season, this is a time to just level allegations, something will stick?
Gaurav, I believe that you continue to host a show which is called India First, Politics Later. And when we talk about India First, we must remember there was a private businessman who did not have a defense company before he went and met the defense officials of France, whether it is an Airbus helicopter, whether it is a Rafale deal. He goes and meets the senior most defense officials of France. He speaks to them about whatever deal that he's looking at. He ends up getting a Rafale contract within 2 weeks. Within 1 week of his travel, he manages to create a company out of thin air with zero manufacturing experience called Reliance Defense. That Reliance Defense is the primary beneficiary of the offset contracts of the Rafale deal, which the Prime Minister signs along with Mr. Anil Ambani standing next to him while the Defense Minister happens to be in Goa. Let's also not forget that the Foreign Secretary, before the Prime Minister's visit, goes on to say that there's going to be no discussion on any kind of defense deals. It's only going to be a perfunctory call as a foreign relation that we are maintaining, foreign diplomacy that we are looking at. So I think it is crystal clear now. You have a Prime Minister who was not the chowkidar for the nation.
Okay.
He's a chowkidar for
on
Anil
the
Ambani.
specific issues.
Whether it is a helicopter deal or whether it is a Rafale deal.
Okay, so you're saying whether it's helicopter or Rafale, it does not matter?
Gaurav,
okay.
Let's stick to India first.
Okay, we will, ma'am, we always do, and you know that. But let me take this question to Amit Malviya. Amit Malviya.
India First would want to know, why was Indian Air Force? No, Gaurav, please allow me to complete. No, Gaurav,
so one by one, madam, let's take this point one by one.
About India First, you need to ask, why was the Indian Air Force, which is asking for 126 aircrafts, got a deal of 36 aircrafts?
Ma'am, but we've gone over this again and again. 36 instead of 126 was a desperate call. Because in the past 10 years, the 126 did not happen.
Again and again. Because we are talking about India first, right? We are not talking about politics first. I'm talking about India first. I'm talking about
absolutely.
India first.
So let me now take this to Amit Malviya. Let me take this to Amit Malviya.
Why is
Amit Malviya.
was Hindustan Aeronauticals Limited?
Ma'am, all of these questions we'll take one by one, and we have been discussing these questions. But let me now take this to Amit Malviya, because I must get all my guests into this broadcast. If this is about the Airbus helicopter, why does it have a reference, Amit Malviya? Priyanka Chaturvedi, you will permit others to come in, please, madam. Allow me to moderate this. Allow me please to moderate this. Amit Malviya, why does it have a reference to the Prime Minister's visit?
I want to keep India first.
Absolutely. We all must together. And and that there will be an MOU in this visit. And that's the point the Congress raises, that Anil Ambani knew he had insider information, and Rahul Gandhi insists that this is a violation of the Official Secret Act, sir.
You know, I must give you a slice of history here. In the 1970s, Rajiv Gandhi was the middleman for the Swedish Saab Scania when they were trying to sell the Vision aircraft in India. And therefore, you know, and thereafter he soon became the Prime Minister of India. And I can quite understand why Rajiv Gandhi's son today can't imagine an arms deal without a middleman, and he obviously thinks that there must be a bribe that goes on in every deal, and that's why he's hopping around with Rafale and trying to stick around a charge that doesn't exist. Now, coming to the specific letter that he held out today, it has been established that it was a fake letter. This is the second time Rahul Gandhi has come out with a fake press conference. He did one just a couple of days ago when they used a cropped file noting to make a point that the Prime Minister's office was superseding what the Defense Ministry was doing, but later it turned out that there was a piece of that document which was missing and which had substantial arguments to counter what Rahul Gandhi and the Congress were saying. Therefore, it's quite clear by now that there is an agenda that the Congress party is running with. The agenda is very simple. Speak lies, speak more lies, speak lies at every possible
You're saying it's speak lies and speak more lies, Abhijit? Sir, let's take this step by step. There are many aspects that I want to raise here. Abhijit, was an MOU to be signed between 9 and 11th of April 2015 for the Rafale, or this email is about something else and it's being used to obfuscate facts, sir?
Well, first of all, the MOU wasn't signed when Narendra Modi was in Paris.
True.
The announcement was made on this very ugly boat that travels the Seine River, and the actual MOU, or the memorandum of intent, it was something else that was signed about a year and a half later. This was just a statement that was issued. So even on factual grounds, then, if you say it was the MOU that was signed at this point, it's wrong. Second, of course, the fact is the Rafale's never mentioned here. The only thing we have mentioned here are helicopters. And the last I checked, the Rafale isn't a helicopter, unless, of course, there were some serious modifications made to it to give it rotary wing capacity, which I seriously doubt. I really don't see how this letter affects the Rafale at all.
Okay. Okay, so Priyanka, you want to quickly come in because you have your hand up, but I also want to bring in Ghanshyam Tiwari, because Ghanshyam Tiwari,
I'm so
facts and narrative are two completely different things. Facts are supposed to be sacrosanct, and Ghanshyam Tiwari, this time facts are not sacrosanct, sir.
Well, we have an entire BJP that swoons over a comment like facts are not facts. But that aside, today, in your own narrative, you just said that Airbus stated that they had other options. The question is, did the Prime Minister of India had other options compared to Anil Ambani? Did the French company Dassault had other options compared to Anil Ambani?
No, Airbus had other options when it comes to whether it's
I'm saying your own statement. Airbus can have other options. The Prime Minister doesn't have another option. Dassault doesn't have another option. And look at where we have reached. Few days back, the Prime Minister spoke in Parliament and he said, like BJP has always said, they have been saying this for more than a year now, that all questions with respect to Rafale has been answered. If all questions were answered, we would not be discussing this. It is clearly that every report exposes a new question, raises a new question. For example, this email tells one clear story, that Anil Ambani had a leg up compared to any other entrepreneur with respect to the Rafale deal.
Okay, that's the point you're raising. Priyanka Chaturvedi, Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad has accused Rahul Gandhi. Let me get Priyanka Chaturvedi in, and Amit, I'll get you to respond to that. Priyanka Chaturvedi, Ravi Shankar Prasad accuses Rahul Gandhi of working as a lobbyist for a competitive arms company, aircraft company. The allegation is that this is a conspiracy to stall the modernization of the Air Force.
Gaurav, when we talk about lobbyists, let's not forget the extensive role of Bangaru Lakshmanji in defense dealing. Let's not forget the coffin scam. Let's not forget the Operation Parakram under the Bharatiya Janata Party government.
On this story specific,
S-400. Let's not forget the Rafale. I don't want to get into that. Please, please. Gaurav, please, since we're talking about India first, please allow me to speak. I find it extremely unfortunate that you cut me out every time I speak about India first. Now, I want to talk about Abhijit. I'm very glad that I have Abhijit on the panel with me. And Abhijit, I must tell you, this is not about the helicopters, and it has not changed overnight. What has changed is, and let me tell you, the intent in 2015 was very clear. The offset contract benefit would go to Reliance Defence. François Hollande has gone on record to tell you this, that they were left with no option but to give it to a Reliance Defence. Reliance Defence did not come overnight. Now emails show that Reliance Defence was in consultation. Mr. Anil Ambani was in consultation a week before Reliance Defence came into existence. Let's also not forget that HAL was sacrificed at the altar of providing benefits to a private limited company. Let's also not forget, Abhijit, when we talk about India first, that 126 aircraft was reduced to 36. And last but not the least, I would want to tell Abhijit here that as far as the entire sequence of events is concerned, after this intent was made clear in this particular Paris meeting, the 2016 onwards, we have seen how a dissent note came from the Indian negotiation team. The Defence Secretary has gone on record to say how a parallel negotiation by the PMO has undermined India's cause. We have a Defence Minister on record in his writing saying that it appears that the PMO has been in negotiation directly with the Rafale team. So what does it go to show?
Abhijit, quickly respond. Abhijit, quickly respond. 3 points made by Priyanka Chaturvedi. Please respond.
Absolutely.
Please, particularly benefit a particular company and also change the terms and conditions overnight. We've also sacrificed manufacturing license to support a particular party, and that particular party happens to have met just 2 weeks before.
Can I answer?
Okay, Abhijit,
was signed.
Yes.
And
Priyanka, please let him answer now.
This entire company came into existence. Yes, of course you can. Of course, Abhijit, I will let you answer.
Thanks, Priyanka. Okay, so 3 things. Why was it reduced to 36? Well, because it was unaffordably expensive. I'd been saying this since 2011 that there was no way India could have afforded 126 of those jets. They were way beyond our budget. It would have wrecked our financial outlay for the next decade or so. It had to be reduced to 36. Of course, I didn't like the Rafale at all. I would have preferred going in for a
on facts, Abhijit.
And that was to fulfill the critical mission requirement of dropping. Hang on, let me finish. On facts. Second is in any negotiation process you will always have dissent. In this particular case, why was it that other people were involved, including the PMO? Because there are 2 parts to this particular agreement. One is the intergovernmental agreement, which is a diplomatic agreement, and the second is the supply of weapons and the supply of aircraft agreement, which is the operational agreement. Now the negotiating team, the Indian negotiating team, has the mandate to negotiate part 2 and part 3, but not part 1. For example, the letter of comfort from the French Prime Minister to the Indian Prime Minister can't be negotiated by an Air Force or Defence Ministry negotiating team. Sovereign guarantees, for example, have a whole load of implications with regards to the nuclear program, with all sorts of other programs, not just the nuclear program, that are interdepartmental, international law related and so on and so forth, which again the Ministry of Defence has no authority to negotiate that with. So there is a political part of this negotiation which has to be conducted outside of the
outside the Amit Malviya, Rahul Gandhi's allegations are very specific.
And operational supplies.
Rahul Gandhi's allegations are very specific. Integrity clause removed. Sovereign and bank guarantee clause waived off. PMO carried out parallel negotiations. Very serious charges, Amit Malviya.
Gaurav, the Supreme Court looked at the matter in its entirety, including the process of negotiating for Rafale, and they found nothing wrong with it. We've already seen preemptive attacks on the CAG. We've seen Rahul Gandhi disbelieve the defense minister, the president of France, the CEO of Dassault, and anybody who has spoken in favor of the Rafale deal, including the IAF chief. Now the matter is that is Rahul Gandhi the custodian of all truth in this case, or do other people also know something? As far as the integrity clause and the letter of comfort is concerned, two arguments. One, that it's a government-to-government deal and there's a letter of comfort from the French government to the Indian government. If you look at the mechanism of payment, there's an escrow account which rests with the government of France. The Indian government is paying into that. There's a monitoring mechanism, and the governments, when satisfied that the milestones have been met, are releasing the payment to the manufacturer. So it's all between the governments. The integrity clause does not exist for deals that India signed with countries like the United States and the USSR, or what is now known as Russia. So there is no exception that has been made in the case of Rafale, as Rahul Gandhi is alleging. The fact remains that Rahul Gandhi is completely entrenched and bought into Eurofighter, which was represented by Christian Michel in this country, and as we all know, Christian Michel is the retainer for all arms deals that the Gandhi family does. Whether it is
that's a very serious allegation you are leveling. Do you have anything to back that claim?
Christian Michel is the retainer of the Gandhi family who brokers deal for them and ensures kickback. And
that's a very grave charge. That's a very grave charge. The Union Law Minister, Priyanka Chaturvedi, the Union Law Minister, talked about rival aircraft manufacturers. Here, Amit Malviya is naming Christian Michel and the company he represents, saying these are corporate games that are being played with the country's security, Priyanka Chaturvedi.
No. Firstly, I think there are some relevant comments coming from Abhijit, and I would not even want to indulge Mr. Amit Malviya, who comes up with a whole host of lies to cover up the entire corruption model of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, as far as Abhijit is concerned, I would want to ask Abhijit whether the sovereign guarantee that any country seeks when they're finding...
Ma'am, allow me to ask the questions. Please permit me to ask the questions.
A parallel negotiation.
Please permit me to ask the questions.
No,
I will ask you. I will. But for today, you need to answer the questions. No, Priyanka Chaturvedi, you need to answer questions. Is your party raising issues that cannot be substantiated? That cannot be substantiated.
Allow me. No. I find this, Gaurav, if this is about India first, you would have not interrupted me.
No, I'm asking you questions, madam. You need to answer. Allow me to ask Abhijit and my other guest questions.
PMO keeping the Ministry of
You're most welcome to join me as a co-anchor.
Is that the answer
but
to more
today you need to answer
defense deals? Now, my second question to Mr. Amit Malviya. No, I know you want to make it political. I know you do not want to make, you want to make it about politics first, India first later. Now, let me answer Mr.
But that's very unfair. Malviya. I'm asking very specific questions, whether on sovereign guarantee, and I will put that question to Abhijit. I will put that question on to Abhijit. No, madam, but you need to answer. Is there merit in what Amit Malviya says, that these are corporate wars being fought?
I am willing to answer anyone. I'm even willing to answer you as an anchor. I'm again willing to answer you. There is a corporate warfare. There's a lobbyist, and the lobbyist is Mr. Narendra Modi, who's batting for Mr. Anil Ambani. He is not the chowkidar for the nation. He's a chowkidar for Anil Ambani, because he shared information with Anil Ambani 3 weeks before the deal was signed. And Mr. Anil Ambani, with full faith and confidence in the Prime Minister of India and that he would get his support, goes to the highest
Amit Malviya, respond. I want to bring in Ghanshyam Tiwari, Rajiv Dubey,
and speaks to them about some MOU which is going to be signed.
Quickly.
No, you have to allow me to complete.
Is Chowkidar batting for Anil Ambani?
Can I quickly?
Gaurav, you have now about Christian Michel. Christian Michel. Since how many weeks has Christian Michel been in India? And how many people has he implicated? I want you to answer that question.
Can any one of us get an opportunity?
So Christian Michel is a story that people will talk about when we debate Christian Michel. But Amit Malviya, quickly to you and then to Abhijit before I bring in Ghanshyam Tiwari and Rajiv. Otherwise, madam, everyone will be talking at the same time. This debate will get nowhere.
So just a quick...
Yes, Abhijit.
Until now, you don't have an answer to all the questions that you all have been raising. It's a shame that you all continue to lie to the people of this country.
Okay,
under the garb of a Christian Michel. Christian Michel is with you. Why aren't you getting answers from him?
You can't allow the Congress spokesperson to continue blabbering.
No, Priyanka Chaturvedi, it has to be facts first. India first, Priyanka Chaturvedi, is facts first.
I want to know,
facts.
Has Christian Michel implicated anyone.
I mean, come on. We can
Christian Michel is a separate story.
Christian
Michel is a separate story. Amit Malviya leveled an allegation against your party president. Amit Malviya leveled an allegation against your party president. Do you want to respond to that, Priyanka Chaturvedi? That's a very serious charge that he's leveled.
Gaurav, can I please come in? Because we've had her speak non-stop and make no sense at all.
2 questions to the BJP.
Can I come in, Gaurav?
Yes,
sir. Questions to the BJP.
Gaurav, can I come in?
Let Priyanka Chaturvedi respond with an answer and not with a counter question, Priyanka Chaturvedi. Allow me to moderate, Priyanka Chaturvedi. Please answer without counter questions. Allow me to ask questions today.
I have no counter question, Mr. Savant. My answer is very
Gaurav,
simple.
can I come in, or are you going to allow her to have a non-stop rant which is not making any sense?
Okay, ma'am, you've made that point. You've repeated that point for the 3rd time now. Amit Malviya, you go. Okay, Amit Malviya.
जो देश के फॉरेन
No, ma'am. Priyanka Chaturvedi, you cannot make the same point again and again. This is what your party president appears to be doing. But is it going to stick? Are there facts to back it up?
Why aren't you allowing me to complete?
Because, madam, you're repeating the same point again and again and again. Please make new points. Amit Malviya, you want to respond to that point before I bring in Abhijit?
You are not re-emphasizing the entire
that she will only parrot the lies that Rahul Gandhi speaks. How can she come up with new points? She has to parrot the lies that Rahul Gandhi speaks all the time.
Oh. And Mr.
Modi, Gaurav, I want to make one quick point, and the point is that the Boeing Airbus did not sign any MOU when the Prime Minister was there in France. The fact is that the Airbus did not sign any MOU when the Prime Minister was there in France. Rahul Gandhi tried to obfuscate matters. His spokesperson is trying to do the same here. She's parroting the lies that Rahul Gandhi spoke. I understand it's a compulsion of the job that she's doing, but that doesn't mean that the country will be held ransom to their lies and bogus claims that they make all the time.
But there are issues that are being raised, and I want to bring in Abhijit on this. Abhijit, this is a point that Priyanka Chaturvedi also raised.
She has no compunction in coming out and making fake claims.
Abhijit, as someone who's looked at this deal very closely,
will suit him politically.
Okay, Abhijit, was India's position compromised with no bank guarantees? Was India's position compromised with that bank guarantee, sovereign guarantee, bank clause being waived off? And again, a very important point that Priyanka has raised, that the defense secretary did put a dissent note saying that with Prime Minister's office, Priyanka, please allow me to anchor, with the Prime Minister's office carrying out parallel negotiations, the Indian negotiating team's position was weakened. Abhijit.
So 2 things here. First is the parallel negotiations, and second is what you asked me about the sovereign guarantees. So with the sovereign guarantees and bank guarantees, no. Remember, these were things in any negotiation, you have some give and you have some take. Sovereign guarantees is something we've been trying to introduce for a long time. It works sometimes. I think the last time it worked was when Rajiv Gandhi negotiated the deal for the HDW submarines from Germany in 84 or 87. Since then, it's been hit or miss. The problem with sovereign guarantees is once you impose that as a precedent on a country, it becomes very tough to get that back for that country to offer it on an ad hoc basis. After that, they're forced to offer it every single time, and which is why countries don't like offering sovereign guarantees, bank guarantees. The second issue with both sovereign guarantees and bank guarantees is that they cost money. And the third issue with sovereign and bank guarantees is we needed them when India was a financially weak country long back in the 70s and 80s, when we were internationally ostracized. We don't need that anymore. It's the remnant of a bygone era. It's not relevant to us anymore. On the second issue of the parallel negotiations that happened, understand, there weren't parallel negotiations, there were complementary negotiations. The PMO looks at interdepartmental stuff that cannot by law come under the Minister of Defense.
Okay.
The Minister of Defense and the Ministry of Defense can only look after things that come directly under them. They can't go around negotiating on things like sovereign guarantees and so on and so forth, which have much larger implications, nuclear implications and so on and so forth. And in this case, it was very specifically nuclear implications that had nothing to do with the Ministry of Defense. So again, point not proven.
Okay, point not proven. So Ghanshyam Tiwari, is there merit then in Union Minister Arun Jaitley saying new lies are manufactured every day? This is election season, so it's spit and scoot and hope something will stay.
Well, it's one thing to have an expert-like opinion, but it's another to be an expert. On the MOUs, just our resident expert on the panel said it happened some time, a year or a year and a half later. I want to read to you. On 10th April 2015, the India-France joint statement during the visit of Prime Minister to France, as published by the MEA, the point number 14 clearly states that a deal was fully sealed. Here is a very brief mention of that.
Okay.
That the two leaders agreed to conclude an intergovernmental agreement for supply of the aircraft on terms that would be better than conveyed by Dassault in aviation. And what is more interesting is that that has been missed in the debate is, and the aircraft and associated systems and weapons would be delivered on the same configuration as had been tested and approved by Indian Air Force, and with a longer maintenance responsibility by France.
Sure. So where is the contradiction in any
the contradiction
of this?
Three things. One, the MOU happened a year and a half later is a misleading statement. There was a clear agreement that happened that was published on April 10, 2015.
Second,
the entire debate that these were better conditions, different conditions than had been approved was a false debate pushed by Bharatiya Janata Party to save their point of view. Third, that as I mentioned, that sovereign guarantee that he is talking about, clearly the defense experts who were advising the government have disagreed with what Mr. Mitra says, that this is a Rajiv Gandhi era point of view. That is not true.
No,
even in this deal, they were experts in the defense who were arguing for sovereign guarantees, who were arguing for and who were arguing for arbitration, better arbitration that this government managed. Clearly, PMO intervened and it weakened the Indian position.
How has it weakened the Indian position? Rajiv, has it weakened the Indian position?
Not really. I mean, it's the PMO's job to oversee it. It's not something that, unless PM is also negotiating on the parallel, it is his job to oversee this. On the issue of the MOU, there was actually no MOU signed in April of 2015. The MOU was finally signed in January 2016 between the two governments, and the two companies, Dassault and Reliance, signed it in October of 2016. So a year and a half after that, after this email that has been talked about. So there was no MOU during that visit on a defense deal during that visit of the Prime Minister to France.
Okay, Priyanka Chaturvedi, another point that Rahul Gandhi has repeatedly been raising is that Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave 30,000 crore rupees to Anil Ambani. Ma'am, you also know well enough that 30,000 crore is not even the entire offsets clause and offsets out of this deal, and Anil Ambani is not getting all the offsets. By all accounts, he's apparently getting at the most between 850 to 1,000 crore, madam, and only from one part of the deal. He's only getting it from Dassault Aviation, nothing from Safran, nothing from MBDA. Yes, ma'am.
Gaurav, I'm hoping you will not interrupt me when I talk, even if I'm repetitive. Give me my 30 seconds without interruption. Now, okay, so let me bring to your notice, maybe you haven't noticed this, in the past 1.5 years that we've been talking about the entire Rafale deal, we've been speaking about how the Reliance Defense in itself had sent out a press release. It is on their website, maybe you can check their website, which says this is the biggest private defense deal that Reliance has managed to bag, and it is worth 30,000 crores. And you may not know better, I may not better, the nation doesn't know better. And I think that is what we are asking of this government. We all need to know better how the country has benefited of this Rafale deal. Second question here is, this is not just about 30,000 crores. The Reliance Defense press release and website also mentions 1 lakh crore worth of opportunity life cycle cost, which is again, it's not coming out of the Congress headquarters. It is coming from the Reliance Defense website, and I'm only quoting that. The second question here is, when we talk about intergovernmental agreement, Abhijit may have all his differences, but I may want to ask him, is letter of comfort doing away with sovereign guarantees, doing away with bank guarantees, doing away with escrow accounts, doing away with an anti-corruption clause, which the PMO was directly overseeing, keeping the Ministry of Defence in the dark, the best way to go about a singular largest defence deal that Mr. Modi has managed to get. Let me also remind you, Abhijit, let me remind you, Gaurav, let me remind the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson that there was an entire intention that was sealed in that Paris agreement. It may have come about, the MOU may have come about 1.5 years later. And in that 1.5 years, we have seen a dissent note coming from the Ministry of Defence. We have seen a dissent note coming from Mr. Mohanty. And we have seen a lot of objections being raised about the compromises we are making with this deal.
Malviya,
and thirdly,
very
keep
direct
talking about
allegations
the
being
Supreme
levelled
Court
at the
clean
Prime
sheet.
Minister's
These
door.
clean cheaters, please, Mr. Sawant, please allow me to complete.
Ma'am, you
The
said
clean
30 seconds,
cheaters
more than 45
have
seconds
gone on
already.
to
You
not
made
tell
these
the
points.
Supreme Court
I need to get the
about
BJP
these
to
two
respond.
dissent
Abhijit,
notes
to respond.
have not gone on to, not gone on to tell the Supreme Court that there has
all guests
been
need to
no
come in.
CAG report
All
from
guests
the
need to come in and participate.
which has been
Yes.
accessed
Okay.
by
Amit
the
Malviya,
Public
please
Accounts
respond
Committee.
quickly.
And we still continue to talk
Can
about
I
some
respond
clean
to
cheaters
Yes, sir,
against the
please do.
Supreme Court by
Amit Malviya
undermining
first
the
and then
entire
Abhijit.
procedure of the Supreme Court.
Go on,
So,
Abhijit.
Gaurav,
Go on,
Abhijit
go on.
speak only
Amit
when
Malviya
she
first.
decides to stop. You know, first of all, one thing is very clear. There are about 100 companies that have benefited from the offset clause. Reliance gets just about 3%, which is about 800 crores of the 50% that is going to come to India as offset. Huge amount of employment in areas such as Bangalore, Tirupur, Pune and everywhere else where there is aero manufacturing units established. Fourth point, the Congress keeps talking about Anil Ambani not having any experience. I don't hold any brief for Anil Ambani, but the question to be asked to the Congress party is that when Anil Ambani's group was given the Mumbai Reliance Metro project, what experience did they have? And it was the Congress government that did that. Point number 5 is that repeating a lie again and again does not make it the truth. The Congress spokesperson, just like Rahul Gandhi, got to realize this. The fact is that they are hoping that this will be a Bofors moment, but the fact remains that Rajiv Gandhi had got the kickbacks in Bofors. And there is no scam at all in Rafale, and therefore the attempt to build an equivalence is not going to work.
I'm so glad you brought up Bofors because the Supreme Court,
despite whatever happens, because he believes that politically it might help him. The Supreme Court has knocked down their claims, the Defence Ministry has knocked down their claims, the Air Force Chief has knocked down their claim, the French President has knocked down their claim.
Rajiv Dubey, since you're looking at this deal very closely, and let's address this issue. Let's address this issue.
Therefore,
look, on this broadcast, we'll discuss facts. We'll stay with facts. And I want Rajiv Dubey to come in. And Ghanshyam Tiwari, you must listen to this. This is very important. Is Anil Ambani getting 30,000 crore out of Reliance, or was that a boast that is now going to cost them? Because Anil Ambani gets a part of the Dassault deal. There's a deal. There's a deal with avionics. There's a deal with engines. There's a deal with the airframe. So there are, and then there is a deal with the weapons package. So 59,000 crore is divided 4 ways, and not just to Dassault Aviation, and not just to. So quickly, I want Rajiv to come in, and then Abhijit on facts, pure facts.
It's divided. It's divided multiple ways, and then also he was, you know, the Anil Ambani group would have also only got a portion of the contract of the you know, offset contract. So people are estimating it would have been somewhere around 800 odd crore, but it was definitely not something like 30,000 crore. It was more of the nature of a boast. This amount, as well as the discussion saying that it's going to be 1 lakh crore worth of business over a 50-year cycle, was again a kind of boast to suggest that this company was in real business of defense.
Okay, Abhijit, 59,000 crore rupee deal, not restricted just to...
So 2 points. One is Priyanka's question.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So 2 things. First is, remember what Rajiv said about 800 to 900 crores sounds about right, because the offset is not to manufacture Rafale parts, it's to manufacture parts for the Dassault, to manufacture the cockpit sections and wing sections for the Dassault Falcon 2000 business jet, which as you see, they're doing very quickly and very finely at the moment. The market isn't big enough for this to be anything more than 3,000 crores. The Dassault Falcon 2000's market share is shrinking as a percentage of the overall, and 800 to 900 crores would be approximately the amount that would break even as new investment in shoring that up. And I don't think either Anil Ambani or Dassault are stupid enough to invest more than that in that particular venture. So I would again put it at what Rajiv put it at 800 to 900 crores. The second question, which is more interesting, that Priyanka asked, is that do I think a letter of comfort is better than a sovereign guarantee? See, there's no easy answer to that. Ultimately, it depends. It's kind of like you going into an insurance marketplace thinking, I'm young, I'm hale and hearty, do I really need health insurance at the moment? It's a political gambit. There's no clear answer, right answer to this. It's just that our political circumstances have changed. We need sovereign guarantees when we were in the 80s, before the industrial reform, the economic reforms took place, and now we're in a much stronger position. We can strong arm people into giving us things and so on and so forth. We're not a sanctioned country anymore. So again, there's no easy answers to this. Personally, I think it was fine doing it.
Okay, Ghanshyam Tiwari wants to come in.
But
well,
you know,
let's look at the facts as
on
we
if the sovereign guarantee was better than a letter, but there was no scam here.
Okay, as we speculate on the offset, I want to read to you one headline. This is October 12th, when the Dassault CEO, his interview was showed as State of the Nation address. And even in that interview, he said that Reliance will meet 10% of offset obligations for Rafale deal. So what 3%, 4%, 5% we are talking about? Let's not choose numbers that change from time to time.
Is it time now for a politician to understand?
My question to Amit Malviya is...
10% of what?
No, my question to Amit Malviya is, when was the last time BJP said what the offset number is? They have gone and chosen to be with the number that appears in the press. When the number appeared 30,000 crore, they defended 30,000 crore. When the number appeared 10%, they defended 10%. When somebody says 3%, they defend 3%. Do their spokesperson not know about the deal itself? Okay. Or are they going to defend whatever appears in the media?
Amit Malviya.
You know, I think what this Samajwadi spokesperson is speaking is nothing but gibberish. The fact remains that under this deal, the 50% of the overall contract has to be delivered as offsets. Offsets get delivered over a period of 10 odd years, and they are meant to bring that kind of production into the country. Now, they may be directly for Rafale, or it might be for something else, but that kind of investment has to be made here in this country, and it is yet to fall in place. And secondly, HAL through their...
You did not answer the question. You called my statement a gibberish. The question is, what offset percentage are you going to put on the table? Because you only respond to media reports, don't tell the real picture.
About 9,000 crore of the overall offset pie goes to the HAL Safran joint venture, and those are matters of details. Those are facts.
Put your numbers on the table. Don't respond. You did the deal.
Rahul Gandhi gets on top of the tree every time and starts shouting 30,000 crore, 30,000 crore, and worse, he now goes on to say that if Air Force pilots get killed in crash, they could get that kind of money in compensation. That's how insensitive and bizarre the Congress president gets at times.
That is a very specific question. I challenge the panel experts as well as the BJP spokesperson.
I told you 3%. You are not listening, Ghanshyam Tiwari. You have got your head buried and stand like the Congress party. It is approximately 3%, which is about 800 to 900 crores.
Who says so? Is your government going to put their neck out?
I said that. You did not listen to what I said.
Is the CAG report going to say 3%?
Okay.
Is the CAG report going to
no, the CAG,
I don't know what the
Ghanshyam Tiwari, this is about facts, so the CAG report on offsets is not that tomorrow. Isn't that the fact, Rajiv?
But whenever it comes out,
CAG report, gentlemen and Priyanka.
The government does not care who is the partner for
if I may make a
small point, concerned about
Priyanka Chaturvedi wants to come in. Priyanka Chaturvedi
being delivered as offsets.
So now you have the BJP spokesperson Amit Malviya. Amit Malviya is now saying, so 3% of offsets is what Anil Ambani's Reliance gets, which according to him and to Abhijit is going to be approximately 800 to 900 crore rupees, not 30,000 crore as being claimed.
Gaurav, I was listening to Abhijit very carefully because he happens to be an expert. He has been talking about the deal. I just have a question of him. He said this is about political guarantee, political will versus the sovereign guarantee. So I just want to ask him a very simple question. Shouldn't it be about political will for national security and national interest, rather than taking a bet on an individual who's just a 12-day-old company for a defense deal which was extremely important for this nation? I'll leave it for Abhijit Iyer's own conscience to decide. Now, as far as the BJP spokesperson is concerned, within the last 30-45 minutes that we've been debating, he's categorically gone on to defend the corrupt deal of Mr. Narendra Modi coming right from the PMO and keeping the Ministry of Defense in dark. Secondly, he's gone on to become the spokesperson for Mr. Anil Ambani, while he says, oh, while I'm not a spokesperson for Reliance Defense. And he's also gone on to undermine HAL, like the current defense minister of this country is doing. Nirmala Sitharaman has left no stone unturned to undermine the capabilities of Hindustan Aeronauticals Limited, because perhaps it suits their argument currently to become the defense minister of Mr. Narendra Modi and the defense minister for the Bharatiya Janata Party government, and not be the defense minister of this nation and the national interest and the national security that this country is talking about. And this is the single largest point that we have been making over the past 1 year. Without any documents, we have been trying to speak about it. We now have documents out in the public domain by the sheer political will and the responsibility entrusted by this country as the opposition party to bring out the corrupt deal out in the public domain. And we are doing that. And Mr. Rahul Gandhi has led this entire battle from the front. And we will not rest till the truth is out in the open and the JPC is constituted by this very government which talks about zero tolerance to corruption.
3% is what Daso gets. Daso gives Anil Ambani's company. That's the point that the BJP is making.
You can keep talking about 3%, 4%. Where was this party when they were talking about 30,000
by the Congress
Where was this party when they were talking about 1 lakh crore benefits?
All throughout, Abhijit, the allegation level by the Congress party is raising the benchmark price from 5.6 billion euros to 7.8 billion euros. Now, that Congress says puts the government in the dock.
No, there's nothing wrong about it. That's in fact very accurate. I've been saying this since 2011, 2012, that the prices that were being quoted in public were highly deflated. The realistic price was for 36 aircraft about $7.9 billion. Dollars. Sounds absolutely ballpark and legit to me. What is surprising is that they actually managed to add on more than I thought they could, about 5 years worth of maintenance contract, which we haven't done to date. And it's good, because if we get that, 36 is too low a number to have a very serious support infrastructure for. So getting a 5-year contract like that is a very good idea for the time being. But the second question to answer is what Priyanka asked me. Well, see, it's a complicated question. We have to look at it from the French point of view, because ultimately the person you give the contract to decides who to give offset things to. So what is good from an Indian point of view, giving it to a strong company,
we have to look from India first point of view. And that's what we are discussing. And in India, we will discuss from India point of view.
True, but Dassault is not under that obligation. Second, yeah, fair point. Second is that, remember, Anil Ambani does have manufacturing experience.
To serve the
defense manufacturing isn't that different from regular manufacturing.
And if it doesn't work in our interest, we don't work with them. Isn't that the thumb rule of any deal that we're working on?
Absolutely,
Abhijit?
but here's the issue.
But I
absolutely, Priyanka.
Absolutely,
Priyanka. Priyanka, bilkul. But एक minute.
And if it doesn't work for India, and if Dassault is not a willing partner, then we look for other partners.
But here's the thing.
I'm sorry, this is not how national interest can be compromised.
Then your pilots will continue to fly MiG-21s. Another
since 2003.
Another upgrade to
since 2003.
That's the least thing that I expected from you. Why
but you need to bring in modern aircraft. You need to bring in modern aircraft. And the point, Ghanshyam Tiwari.
I'm sorry.
The point, Ghanshyam Tiwari, the point Abhijit was raising.
Ever since offsets were codified.
Which is catering to that. I'm so sorry.
He's talking about, ma'am, this is very specific to
offsets were codified in 2006.
Okay.
No, you're talking about speaking.
5 years of maintenance added to that same contract while the deal was being negotiated. Ghanshyam Tiwari, that was the added plus according to the Indian Air Force.
We have an industrial policy.
Well, Abhijit just said 36 is too small a number.
I completely agree.
I want to ask the panel out of curiosity. What is the largest number of Rafale deal that has happened in terms of numbers? If 36 is too small a number, what is the largest that the company has done?
36 was the minimum that the Indian Air Force wanted, gentlemen and ladies. That's the point what the point was.
The point was made that 36 is too small a number for Rafale, not for India. So
no, 36 was too small a number for India, but that was the only thing that would have been bought.
Let me make my point. It's a very simple statement. Saying that with respect to maintenance, 36 is too small a number. My question to the panel is, what is the maximum number of Rafales that has been sold to a foreign country? Okay. I think 36 is large enough for India to have the best deal, which is exactly what Mr. Mohanty was saying.
The Indian Air Force, Rajiv, the Indian Air Force claims this is the best deal that they could have negotiated.
No, what I'm saying is, which is exactly what the defense
closing comments quickly. I've run out of time on this debate.
I do not think that there is any dispute about the fact that the nation needed these aircraft. I do not think that there is any dispute about the fact that this needed to be negotiated very hard and very fast. But whatever the price that has been agreed upon has come on the basis of India-specific changes that have happened in the aircraft. And so we will have to pay for those changes as far as this lot of aircraft and future aircraft that we will be buying or making them in India. This price, this cost will get distributed over the next 90 aircraft as well. Some of it.
Well, not just as yet, but this is one story. This is one story that we will continue. We will continue to discuss this. This remains a political hot potato. But as Rajiv and my guests have been pointing out, this is a deal that the Indian Air Force desperately needed. The aircraft the Air Force desperately needed.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.